The uppermost layer of the ocean is the marine environment we know best. Stretching down roughly 200 meters, this sunlit zone is filled with motion and warmth. Microscopic phytoplankton capture the sun's rays to fuel a massive, thriving food chain. For life at the surface, including humans, the physical experience of this environment is remarkably stable. We exist comfortably under exactly 1 atmosphere of pressure, the baseline weight of the air pressing down on us at sea level. Below 200 meters, the light rapidly extinguishes. For decades, researchers assumed that the freezing, crushing volume of water beneath this point was completely lifeless. We are descending all the way to the Mariana Trench, a V-shaped scar in the Pacific floor. At nearly 11,000 meters deep, the environment is so hostile that life here is forced to play by an entirely different set of biological rules. The deep ocean functions as a biological testing ground where organisms survive by abandoning the surface's most basic engineering constraints. As we cross into the twilight zone, the ocean darkens into a deep shade of blue. The water absorbs the warmer red, orange, and yellow wavelengths of sunlight first, leaving behind only scattered, fading blue light. To survive in an environment where natural light is constantly fading, many species simply create their own. Through highly specialized chemical reactions within their cells, these organisms produce bioluminescence. This self-generated light is weaponized in 2 main ways. Predators, like the anglerfish, use a glowing lure to draw in unsuspecting prey from the gloom. Prey animals use the opposite strategy. Lanternfish use tiny glowing organs to match the faint, scattered light trickling down from above, a tactic called counter-illumination that makes them nearly invisible to predators swimming below them. Species without bioluminescence rely on entirely different optical tricks. Many evolve massive, hypersensitive eyes designed to act as giant light catchers, detecting the subtlest shadows. Others feature completely transparent bodies, allowing whatever faint light remains to pass straight through them without casting a silhouette. In this boundary layer, the ability to capture or manipulate a single photon is the literal difference between catching a meal and becoming one. At 1,000 meters down, we cross the point of no return, the midnight zone. Sunlight vanishes completely, bringing photosynthesis to a hard stop. Without a baseline of plant life to support the food chain, extreme scarcity takes over. This diagram illustrates a process scientists call marine snow. It is a slow, scattered drift of dead plankton, mucus, and organic debris falling from the sunlit waters far above. In the midnight zone, every tiny fragment of this debris matters for survival. The siphonophore survives by distributing the work of life across a living colony. Suspended in the dark, it appears to be a single animal, but is actually composed of thousands of cloned individuals performing specialized tasks to conserve energy. Deep-sea predators adapt to the scarcity by ensuring no meal ever escapes. The gulper eel and the black swallower feature radically expandable jaws and stomachs. They can consume and digest rare prey vastly larger and heavier than their own bodies, sustaining themselves through long periods of starvation. These same harsh conditions trigger a biological paradox known as deep-sea gigantism. Near-freezing temperatures slow down metabolic rates, and the deep waters hold unexpectedly high levels of dissolved oxygen. Combined with a lack of predators, certain isolated species experience slow, steady growth over incredibly long lifespans, reaching massive proportions. You can clearly see this extreme growth in the giant isopode. This heavily armored crustacean creeps along the seafloor, entirely dwarfing its shallow water relatives. In the midnight zone, survival favors organisms capable of extreme metabolic efficiency over those built for speed or strength. Descending further to the abyssal plain and finally into the Haddle zone, the environment introduces its most terrifying physical constraint. At these depths, the sheer weight of the ocean above generates hydrostatic pressure exceeding 1,000 times what we experience at sea level. Lungs or air-filled swim bladders would instantly collapse under that kind of force. Because liquid is mostly incompressible, deep-sea life avoids this fate by building its anatomy out of water-filled tissues and low-density liquid fats. At extreme depth, a standard cell membrane will begin warping and buckling inward. To prevent cellular collapse, deep-sea life relies on specialized molecules called piezolites. These act like internal microscopic support beams, locking into the membrane and pushing back against the immense pressure. Some species fortify their exteriors too. Tiny amphipods living at the very bottom of the Challenger Deep actively secrete a unique aluminum-based gel, physically reinforcing their outer shells to keep from being crushed. And when massive amounts of organic material finally reach this depth, like the rare occurrence of a dead whale sinking to the seafloor, specialized microbes quickly move in. These bacteria extract chemical sulfides from the decaying bones, generating enough energy to build a thriving, localized ecosystem that can last for decades in an otherwise barren landscape. At the absolute bottom of the Earth, survival relies on pure biochemical engineering, pushing outward with enough microscopic force to hold up the ocean. For most of human history, the scale of the deep ocean was a mystery, measured only by dropping weighted lines over the sides of ships. It wasn't until the 20th century that scientists began mapping the abyss using acoustic sonar, bouncing sound waves off the hidden topography. That mapping soon led to physical exploration. In 1960, the heavily reinforced Trieste submersible successfully descended into the Challenger Deep, safely carrying human explorers to the deepest known point on the planet. Modern engineering has expanded our reach even further. Vehicles like the solo-piloted deep-sea Challenger, alongside fleets of robotic drones, continue to dive into the trenches, proving that complex biology thrives in extreme isolation. Mapping these extreme environments is critical work. By studying how organic debris sinks and decays in the abyss, researchers gather vital data on the global carbon cycle, which directly influences the future health of Earth's climate. The deepest trenches remain our least explored planetary frontier. We have proven that life can withstand these conditions. Now we must discover the secrets of resilience still hidden in the dark.